Okay, this is like my fourth video of doing this. I don't know how to start these videos at all. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about chronic fatigue. More importantly, my chronic fatigue. Hi, I have chronic fatigue. I mentioned it a little bit in my outfit video, which I think it's going to appear here if I remember to do that rightly. I was getting especially out of breath when just doing that much physical activities such as changing clothes. And I thought I'd actually sit down and talk about what these last few years have been like, because it's been really weird for me and everyone has different experiences. So I just thought maybe if someone's going through what I went through, that it might help. I don't know. I just want to talk into a camera, and this has been really therapeutic in a way as well. My symptoms got a lot worse over the last couple of years, and I will preface this. I am going to try not to get upset or like mad at the situation, because this isn't like a happy-go-lucky video. Like, it's something that really affects me, and it gives me quite bad depression quite a lot of the time as well. But I thought I'd talk because stories are important. So I'm going to try to do this a tiny bit of timeline. I've got a lot of notes, so you'll see me looking over just behind the camera a little bit. I'm probably going to mention some symptoms or things that are probably unrelated to chronic fatigue, but it all ties in about the same length of time. To me, it all feels like this ebb and flow of different things happening with my body that have like eventually come to impact my life quite heavily now. So, going way back, I've always had like quite low blood pressure and really weird changes in energy levels, and for most of my life that wasn't really a problem. I used to walk long distances. For example, the town I grew up, I'd walk like 3 or 4 miles to the train station. If I missed the bus to school, I'd walk the 4 miles to school as well. Probably sound like an old person here. But I could go out all day. I could do these things. I wasn't like overly active. I never played football. Any sport I did like was like rugby. But I didn't do a lot. But I was still able to do things. And then when I hit 18, yes, I had to count that in my head, I became a chef and was in hospitality as a chef, and then later on a kitchen manager for roughly 10 years. Which, if you've ever worked in hospitality, involves absolutely stupid amount of time being on your feet. It's actually one of the reasons why I'm really bad back, because you're constantly like looking down at the things like, oh, I am prepping food here. And physically, I managed. I managed to. I say managed is probably best. I did undereat. I didn't look after myself. Pre-trans me, I feel a lot of people will understand that. Other than the work that was obviously destroying myself. Physically, yeah, I could do it. And that's important because my life looks very different now. I could not do any of that work now, and it's a little bit depressing because I did enjoy it. So around the age of 30, and I had a very big year turning 30. Things started to get worse. Some of it started definitely before then. I can remember when I started uni, when I was about 26, things had started to feel a little different already. And I started to go to them about different symptoms. I'd get these huge bouts of fatigue, sometimes out of nowhere. I'd like having to sleep random parts of the day, otherwise, because I just couldn't move. I was having really bad, weird bowel problems. And I went to them about all these like different issues, and they started to treat them each one at a time, but very slowly. And when I say very slowly, they only finished trying to diagnose random stuff back in December, when they were like, we're pretty sure it's just chronic fatigue, which its actual name is, this is its actual name. But yeah, at 30, it really started to affect me mentally. It started to get really, really bad. I was having these big bouts of depression because I just couldn't do things anymore. I actually thought it was my depression at first, caused me to want to sleep more, want to like go through more of that stuff, because it was also time that I started to come out and transition. I thought it was all linked into the same thing, and now I can see those are different circles. They overlap a little bit in certain areas, but they're completely different things. And the depression was just because I couldn't do things anymore. Like, that struggling to stay awake is really debilitating. I couldn't move around as much as I used to, and it's really difficult when you're trying to get your brain to go and do something. Like, you're going like, right, I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this, I have this plan for the day, and you just can't, mentally or physically. But yeah, initially the doctors treated everything as its own separate problem, The lack of energy was one thing. For a while, they pinned depression on, yeah, me wanting to transition. Might be doubling up things here. My notes are a bit terrible. Sorry. And yeah, the that's like that's a huge problem because they kept pinning all this stuff on my transition. Doctors can be assholes. I I went through my head and lowered what I was going to call them then quite a bit, and I still ended up at assholes. So I went to my GP, and this was in March after they gave me rounds of B12 to see if it would help with that because I had like weird B12 levels. It didn't help at all. It actually made me feel worse over time, but they were like, well, those levels are fine now, but it's still not solved it. And the doctor sat down and went, well, this fatigue is probably because you started transitioning and it's probably the estrogen. And I went, that would make a lot of sense if I didn't come to you back in back 3 years ago with this exact same problem. And he went, scroll through the thing and went, oh yeah. And I was like, yes, exactly. At this point, I'd only been on HRT for like 3 months, I think, when I was talking to him. Yes. So, but yeah, all these things, it was just so frustrating because I wasn't going in there saying, oh, this is what's wrong with me. I didn't know. I was trying to figure it out myself. I then had the opportunity to talk to one of my amazing, lovely friends who went, that sounds a lot like my chronic fatigue. And I went, it does, doesn't it? Should I just go into the doctors and go, I think it's this? And that's what I ended up doing. And the doctors went, you know what? I think with everything we've tried, it's probably just that. And there's no cure, there's no fix. There's like CBT you can do. So I keep looking. My face is over here as well. I should probably move my face to this screen. This would really help, actually. There's no like cure for chronic fatigue. It is just, oh, my hair is so flat today. It is just one of those things where you're just lumped with it for the rest of your life. And it's like you're struggling mentally because your body can't suddenly do things that it's used to. But yeah, so when you're struggling mentally because your body suddenly can't do these things that it's used to doing, then being told that those physical problems might be because you're depressed becomes this weird circle. Am I exhausted because I'm depressed? Or am I depressed because I'm fucking exhausted all the time? Where does my transition even fit into this, if it even did? And I didn't know. And to be honest, I still don't know. It was just getting worse. And so I kept going back and back and back and back and back. And that's where we ended up in this situation. Now I'm at a point where my energy is, I think, at a stable level, but it's poor. It's really poor. I um can't walk more than 50 meters. I think it is. I had to recently fill out a form and I had to try and work it out without an aid. And that's why I now have this. Look, I brought props today. Handy dandy walking stick. Right? And it's weird that you have to start thinking about really basic things differently. Like when I go out somewhere, it's not just do I want to go, it's how far away is it? Am I getting a lift? Is there somewhere I can sit down? How much walking is involved? Do I have the energy to get ready before I even go? Like if you catch me out and about, if I'm doing something big, I know I don't have the energy to do makeup and then go out for a big day. And if I use all my energy doing this, what's going to happen afterwards? One of the things I deal with as part of chronic fatigue is called post-exertional malaise, or PEM. It sounds really cool. I'm trying to learn all these things through NHS help that they've been sending. For me, if I exert myself too much, physically or even mentally, like long conversations, like queues at the bank, talking to them about stuff, I crash really hard afterwards. A big part of those crashes is me falling asleep. I will sit down and I will just, and it's debilitating. It isn't sleep because it's never refreshing. I don't wake up feeling like I've like, ooh, this is a nice, lovely nap. I'm gonna take on the world. No, it's like being attacked by it. Like something just grabs my body, drags me down into sleep, and then just shoots me back up later on. It's like, I wake up so disoriented. Yeah, waking up dazed, confused, often feeling worse than it was before. And I can't really do much physical activity without getting out of breath. The thingy video was literally paramount to that. You can literally see me getting out of breath and having to take extra time in between outfit changes. So I end up having a really weird energy economy now. Doing something today doesn't necessarily just cost me the energy to do that thing. I might also be spending some of tomorrow's energy, or spend like the week's energy. I have certain days where I do generally feel better than others and can do things, and that's usually when I record these videos, when I try and stream and I try and slot in these energy times. I don't know always exactly how that's going to pan out in the long run, but I try and play it day by day. Hence why I don't have a stream schedule, and I'm pretty poor at an upload schedule currently. But yeah, even something as having a shower has changed. I have to schedule that in. I can't shower anymore. The exertion with hot water means I get really faint, so I need baths. I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep in the bath, and then suddenly I'm worried that I'm gonna pass out. And that's it, right? The mundane things of everyday life I never thought about before. I now have to think and change. Having a shower, going around the shop, going somewhere with friends, getting dressed, standing up for too long. They're these things that just you need to do. They're every day. And now I have to plan my entire day. I'm not going to get upset. I have to plan my entire day around them. And that's been probably the hardest part of all this. I try and put my best foot forward with it, but like I mentioned before in previous vids that I'm a parent of two, and losing a lot of my mobility has really affected what I can easily do with them, and that really hurts. There are things that I'd like to do, just get up and go and do stuff, planning how go to the park with them and stuff like that, and most days I just can't physically do it, so we have to change what we do. We do movie nights, we do different things, and it still upsets me, but yeah, I still want to make memories with them, but the memories have to look a little different than I think I had originally in my head now. And relationships in general become difficult because sometimes I really want to go out. I want to see people. I want to do things. I want to have a normal day, and my body says no. Luckily, a lot of my friends are absolute nerds. I'm calling you all out and are on Discord a lot of the time. And it's made it so nice and easy. I am hopefully not ruining my makeup right now. Oh my god. It's made it so nice and easy to keep in contact with friends. Some days I'm bedridden as well. It's not been often, but some days I am just not moving. I try and go into it with a mindset of it's not, I don't want to go out because I might get tired. It's, I want to do this stuff and I'm going to do this stuff if the energy's there. But some days I just physically can't. It's just not there. It's not in me. And I think I really understood that distinction for the first couple of years of fighting this. I'm still learning how to live around this and learning what my limits are. I'm learning when I need to stop and constantly pushing myself because I feel like I should be able to do something. I'm learning that things like my walking stick aren't a symbol of me giving up. It's literally something that helps me do more. It helps me walk more than 50 meters out the house. It helps me get to the shop. It helps me get to the train station. And then suddenly I'm in city centre and I can go have a coffee with a bunch of friends. I've been able to do that a few more times recently. I don't think I'm completely comfortable with my symptoms yet. I'm learning to live with them. There are things that I miss. There's things that piss me off. And there's still days where I look at something I used to be able to do without thinking, getting incredibly frustrated that it's now this massive undertaking. But this is my life at the moment. This is the stuff I sort of half allude to when talking about transitioning and effort and stuff. It really takes it out of me. I'm figuring out how to live it. Obviously, that's sort of a bit of it. That's why this exists. It's also really great for self-defense as well. And I really don't want this video to be me explaining what chronic fatigue is medically because I'm not a doctor. I can only really talk about what's happened to me and what that feels like. And some of these symptoms might be unrelated. If you've got chronic fatigue and you don't have this, I'd want to hear about that because I'm amazed at the range of ability that people on chronic fatigue seem to have. Because my friend is a bit more able than me and they're amazed at how bad I am some days. But yeah, I don't know. This is just how I felt the last few years and I thought I'd talk at a camera and hopefully someone would be like, oh damn, that's how I feel. Sisters. This is like going from someone who would work 72-hour weeks standing up every day to someone who can't have a shower because they'll pass out. And it's been a lot. So this video is a downer, and I don't really want it to be, but yeah, like it's hard not to because I have struggled. Chronic fatigue has made my life a lot more difficult. There are things that I really miss, and there are things that I'm still learning to deal with. And at the same time, the last few years of my life have basically been me learning who the fuck I am with my transition, relationships, being a parent, body changing, and now learning to live with a body that sometimes just goes and drops my energy off at a cliff. And it's all sort of weaving into this tapestry that is me. And I wrote this bit that I'm staring at my script for. It's part of the tapestry that is me. And you don't you don't have to love every thread that's in there, because I don't love this one. I can live with this. But if I could choose not to have it and be able to do those things with my kids more, I'd choose that. I'm learning how to live it instead of constantly fighting against myself is the main thing. And I can't do everything I used to. I'm allowed to be upset at that, I feel. And it doesn't mean I can't do anything. Just sometimes I have to do things differently. I think about, sometimes I just have to do things differently. And I think I'm slowly becoming okay with that. And yeah, so I don't know, this is a weird video. This is me just talking about symptoms at a camera. I hope you guys enjoy it. Next one might not be any better. The next video is going to be about transition stuff as well, and it's sort of on the worse side of things. But I think really just bearing it all is helpful. But yeah, so that's my chronic fatigue. Or at least that's what living as me looks like. I don't know. I feel like I've doubled up points. Editing this is going to be so totally weird. And hopefully this wasn't too depressing. Hopefully this was interesting in some way. Now, I am going to go down. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go lie down from exerting myself by talking. So take care, have fun, subscribe, like, watch the video 400 times so YouTube thinks that I'm really popular. That would be nice. I keep looking at myself instead of the camera. I need to figure this shit out. I do. I really do. But yeah. Bye-bye.